Hi folks, it's Craig Castle here, and I'm going to do my walkthrough of my inclement weather project. Last week I took the time to upload my entire project onto our Canvas learning management system. So I want to give you a tour of the Canvas page that I then utilized to have my anatomy and physiology students practice on and give it a run through on Friday when we had a half day. And I had students who didn't have anything better to do. So we did an introduction to the inclement weather project. And then I'll tell you some of their observations, some of their constructive criticisms, and some of their accolades. So let me minimize myself here and introduce you to our Canvas learning management system. Of course, I copied and pasted this onto my anatomy and physiology site, but I'm going to make this into an actual site next year. So here you can see the unit, and the unit called my inclement weather unit is actually a unit on starting seeds in our STEAM greenhouse. And since they really can't do a lot of hands-on work at home, meaning labs, what it is background information on everything. So I started it with an introduction, and that introduction, because of some of the constructive comments of my classmates, begins with a video. The video instruction welcomes everybody and gives everybody. So as you can see, it goes on for about 5 minutes and gives precise directions and explains what my objectives are. Since we can't do the work in the greenhouse per se, this is a scaffolding lesson to teach them what they need to know when they get back to class, and hopefully make them excited and energized about it. So throughout the introduction here, I talk about my goals and how these students can get engaged and how they can participate. And then as you can see, there are the rules of netiquette that I've included. And then yet another constructive comment was about providing online help. So at the end of this, I put on a help section which says if you need computer technological help, there's an email address for our help desk, and I verified with the help desk that they would be available during an inclement weather delay, and this would be monitored. And then there's also my email address, which, as you'll see as we go through this, I may not be responding immediately because it's my Microsoft Outlook account, but I will give other opportunities for students to ask questions. So that's the introduction, and I'm thinking that that's going to be done in a period of 10 or 15 minutes. Students are going to be able to get through that. So once they get through that, what they're going to do then is they're going to go to the first unit, which is the biogeochemical cycles. And in the biogeochemical cycles, I give a preview of how um, energy and nutrients pass through our ecosystem. But before they get started there, I ask them to take a pretest to assess their knowledge going into this. One of the criticisms of my students who has never done an online class before was that I give this pretest and then I give the same test as a summative assessment. Um, I'm not really sure I agree with their criticism because really these are the things I want them to learn. So as a preview, I don't think it's bad that they get to see the 12 questions that I think are important in this test. But as you can see, if you click on this, it takes you to a Socrative, and the Socrative quiz is there and available for my students. So, they'll be able to finish that Socrative and then go back to the test, and they'll get instant feedback on that. So as you go through these directions on this first section, what I'm asking the students to do is do a PowerPoint and watch a presentation on how nutrients cycle through our ecosystem. And then they're asked to do a poster assignment. And the directions for the poster assignment are on here. They're asked to do that and then upload their assignment using a Web 2.0, some type of Web 2.0 software. Then they're asked to look at these nutrient cycles, and finally, if they have any questions, they can ask questions and ask them and put them in the Dropbox, and I'll respond to them. So that's the nutrient section, the biogeochemical section. The second section is on soil and soil nutrients. And here, again, because of some concerns, I added another introductory video. The video tells students what I'm expecting from this and explains how to navigate this page. Basically, the page is a simple set of directions and learning outcomes, and then a PowerPoint. And with that PowerPoint, I give a set of notes, and that graphic organizer follows the outline of the PowerPoint. This is going to be a lot of new information, so when they're done, what I give them are some really important questions that I wanted them to get from their PowerPoint and put onto their graphic organizer notes. So one thing that I did here when I was in the ACTE sandbox is I made this a Google document, which they're supposed to answer these questions and then share with two classmates, and then they're required to post comments on two classmates' writings as well. Oh, and I've also provided this rubric so that they can better assess one another's work in this formative assignment. But my point being, on Tuesday when I get back to school, I am going to move this into the Canvas chat room so that I can provide threaded conversations, and this can be an assignment that then I can evaluate and grade if necessary. So the way it is now, it's on Google Docs, but in its final form on Tuesday, it's going to transition into the Canvas chat room. So anyway, that's the second formative assessment. You go then to the final unit, and the final unit is on seed and seed germination. So seed and seed germination, again, new information for the students. So I give them the objectives. And then there's a fun little YouTube video for them to watch to help them hopefully understand the wonder of seed germination and how seeds can lie dormant for so long and then emerge as new living forms. So after they do that, they're going to do another PowerPoint and another graphic organizer. And that graphic organizer also has the points highlighted that I want them to take from this. After they're done with this, there's a post-assessment. And that post-assessment is the same as the pre-assessment. And I'm hoping that they'll learn from this, show knowledge from this post-assessment. I ran this on several of my anatomy and physiology classes, and overall, the students were the most serious criticism was that the students were unsure if they would have any questions and they'd be able to complete this. So as a result, what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide a section where we're going to meet in the Canvas chat room several times throughout this lesson, probably after the start of the first unit and after the second unit. We'll have pre-designated times that we can meet, that any students can meet me and chat with me. I feel like I've met most of the quality management standards, the verbal as well as the written instructions provide for different modes of learning, learners. It has appropriate course content. I very clearly write out my objectives and how we're going to proceed with directions. I give both formative and a summative assessment. And I provide learning support through the asynchronous assignments, but I'm going to also provide learning support through the synchronous assignments. I think I'm engaging the learners, and that was one of the good points, that all the students who did this felt like they were really into it. They were very excited about the topic, and they felt like they were engaged through the whole thing. So, there were some concerns about this being only a 3-day project with the amount of work. And that's something that I'm not sure until I do a legitimate test run, how much time is going to be involved in this. Since I pared it down and there are none of the labs, when they come back, I'm expecting to incorporate 2 additional lab assignments in with this. Though in reality, this is a 1-week lesson, and that's even before we get into the greenhouse and actually plant the seeds. So all in all, I feel like it's a really solid lesson, and I feel like my students were pretty excited about it and willing to work to do this. So hopefully you found this instructive walkthrough helpful, and I think that I've answered most of the questions. If you have any, feel free to pose them in the discussion section. And hopefully you found this interesting. Thanks, and have a great day.